this video, we'll explore the negativity bias, a psychological phenomenon where people tend to give more weight and attention to negative experiences or information rather than positive ones. We'll explore some of the strategies for overcoming this bias when necessary as well. Raheem and Lee had both been recruited for their respective sports at a top-tier university. Raheem was a top-performing golfer and had high expectations placed on him, while Lee was a first-year rower looking to make a name for herself on the team. As the semester began, they both found themselves struggling to keep up with the rigorous demands of their sport and their academic workload. Raheem had always prided himself on his mental game, but as he struggled to adjust to the new level of competition, he found himself increasingly bogged down by negative thoughts. Every missed shot felt like a failure, and he began to question whether he was cut out for this level of competition. He started to realize that his mind was naturally being drawn to the negative thoughts and that he needed to actively work to counterbalance this tendency by focusing on some positive aspects of his game and accomplishments as well. Lee was experiencing a similar struggle as a first-year rower. She found herself constantly comparing herself to her teammates and feeling like she wasn't measuring up. She felt like she was making mistakes constantly and it was affecting her performance. It wasn't until her coach pulled her aside and reminded her that everyone makes mistakes and that it's part of the learning process that she began to understand that her negative thoughts were actually just holding her back. She started to focus on progress rather than just mistakes, shifted that counterbalance a bit, and began to see improvements. The negativity bias is a psychological phenomenon describing people's tendencies to remember and put more weight on negative experiences over positive ones, and to be more influenced by negative feedback instead of positive feedback, and maybe even to exhibit greater sensitivity to negative emotions like fear, anxiety, and anger. This negativity bias may have evolved as a survival mechanism to avoid negative stimuli through better kind of detection methods. In other words, it made evolutionary sense for us to prioritize negative emotions like fear and anxiety and anger as responses to real threats and challenges. While negative experiences tend to stick to one's brain more easily than positive, as a result of this evolutionary adaptation, the brain is malleable. It can be changed. It can be trained to cultivate more positivity and resilience through different techniques, including focusing on positive experiences for longer periods, savoring positive experiences, cultivating gratitude, practicing self-compassion, and a host of others.